None of them want to hurt you. Not one of these animals is a predator hunting humans. They don't stalk you, and most of them would rather you weren't there at all, but every single one is so enormous that it doesn't need to mean you harm to kill you. A turn of the head, a startled step, a body rolling over in the surf. When an animal weighs as much as a car, or a truck, or a small building, it can kill you by accident in a second, while trying to do nothing at all. And the ones that kill the most people are almost never the ones you're afraid of. 12 animals in America, ranked by one thing, sheer size and how easily that size alone can kill a person who did nothing but stand too close, not teeth, not venom, mass. Some of these you'd pose for a photo beside. One of them injures more people than any predator in the country. And at number 1 is an animal so vast it can end your life without ever registering that you were there, by simply coming down out of the sky. We start with the smallest one on the list, which still weighs more than you do. Number 12, the mountain goat. Number 12 killed a man for trying to walk away from it. We start high in the mountains with the smallest animal here, and a reminder that small on this list still means 300 pounds of muscle on a cliff edge. The mountain goat looks almost serene, picking its way across near vertical rock in the high country of the West. It weighs up to around 300 pounds, and it carries a pair of short, black, dagger-sharp horns that it normally uses to fight other goats over territory. Against a human, those horns are more than enough. For most of history, a mountain goat killing a person was unheard of. Then, in 2010, in Olympic National Park in Washington, it happened. A large billy goat with a history of aggression confronted a group of hikers on a popular trail. A 63-year-old man told the others to move away, putting himself between the animal and the group, and the goat gored him deep in the thigh, severing the artery. Then it did the thing that still unsettles everyone who reads the account. Instead of fleeing, it stood over him and guarded the body, staring down the people trying to help until a ranger drove it off. It was the first person ever recorded killed by a mountain goat. It ranks 12th because a fatal goat encounter is genuinely rare. This is the exception, not the rule, and these animals mostly want salt and solitude, not conflict. But it sets the theme of everything to come. An animal doesn't have to be a monster, or even very big by this list's standards, to kill you with a single motion. The next one is more than twice its size, carrying a weapon on its head built for exactly this season. Number 11. The elk. Number 11 turns gentle meadow grazers into something dangerous twice a year. The elk is one of the most beloved sights in the American West, a majestic member of the deer clan. The bulls crowned with sweeping antlers, drifting across the meadows of Yellowstone, Estes Park, and the Grand Canyon's rim. A big bull can weigh 700 pounds or more, and for most of the year it wants nothing to do with you. But twice a year, elk become genuinely dangerous, and for opposite reasons. In the fall rut, the bulls are flooded with hormones and aggression, bugling and battling for mates, and a rutting bull will charge anything it perceives as a rival or a threat, including a tourist who wandered too close for a photo. Then, in the spring calving season, it's the cows that turn dangerous, fiercely protective of hidden calves, and willing to strike out with knife-edged hooves at anyone who stumbles near. Park employees have been hospitalized by cow elk during calving. Visitors are gored and trampled during the rut, run down by an animal that can hit 30 miles an hour and rear up to strike with both front legs. It ranks 11th because elk aren't out to hurt anyone. The danger is seasonal and with distance entirely avoidable. But it teaches the list's second lesson. The calmest looking grazer in the meadow is running on instincts that can flip in an instant, at the wrong time of year. But the next animal delivers its damage with a single kick, powerful enough to kill. Number 10. The feral horse. Number 10 is beautiful, free, and can shatter your skull with one kick. Across the American West and along stretches of the East Coast, wild and feral horses, mustangs, and their island cousins roam in free-ranging herds, and they are one of the most romanticized animals in the country. People see them and think of freedom, of the open range. What they forget is that a horse is a half-ton animal with hooves that evolved into precision weapons, and a wild one has none of the training or tolerance that makes a domestic horse safe to be around. A feral horse can weigh 1,000 pounds, and its kick is the stuff of grim veterinary and emergency room lore. A single strike from a hind leg can deliver enough force to crush bone, rupture organs, or kill a person outright, especially if it lands on the head or chest. Stallions fight each other savagely during breeding season, rearing and striking, And a human who wanders into a herd to take a photo, to try to feed or touch them, can be kicked or trampled by an animal that felt cornered or territorial. On the barrier islands where tourists flock to see them, the warnings are constant, and people are bitten and kicked every year for getting too close. It ranks 10th because the horse isn't aggressive by nature toward people. It kicks out of fear or dominance, not malice. But that's the whole point of this list. The animal doesn't have to want you dead. Its body does the killing on its own. The next one adds something the horse doesn't have: the will to come after you. Number 9. The American black bear. Number 9 is the one everyone fears, ranked lower than you'd think for an honest reason. The American black bear is the most common bear in North America, found across huge stretches of the country, and a large male can weigh from 300 up toward 600 pounds. It has the strength to flip boulders and tear apart logs, and it can run faster than 30 miles an hour. On paper, it's a terrifying animal, and its sheer physical power absolutely can kill a person. But here is the honest truth that ranks it here, and it matters. The black bear is, by temperament, remarkably timid. It is not the aggressive predator of campfire stories. The overwhelming majority of black bears want nothing more than to avoid you, and most encounters end with the bear fleeing up a tree or crashing off into the brush. Fatal black bear attacks do happen, but they are genuinely rare against millions of encounters every year. The danger climbs mainly when a bear loses its fear of people, drawn in by garbage, coolers, and food left out, because a bold, food-conditioned bear is a fundamentally different and more dangerous animal than the shy one in the woods. It ranks 9th because for all its power, it so rarely chooses to use it on us. But it introduces the part of the list where the animals are not just heavy, they're strong enough and willing enough to be genuinely lethal when something goes wrong. But the next one lives where almost no one expects a 500-pound tank with horns. We're at the halfway point, and from here up, the animals get heavier, stronger, and far more capable of killing you by accident. If a wilder, more honest picture of America's giants is your kind of thing, take 1 second and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel keep making these. Because number 8 is a shaggy relic of the Ice Age that can hit you like a runaway truck, and it lives where the map runs out. Number 8. The Muskox. Number 8 looks prehistoric, because it basically is. Far to the north, on the tundra of Alaska, lives an animal that seems to have walked straight out of the Ice Age, the muskox. Draped in a shaggy skirt of hair that nearly touches the ground, built low and impossibly dense, a full-grown bull muskox can push 800 pounds, most of it muscle and bone, with a fused helmet of horn across its skull. It survived the age of mammoths, and it survived it by being nearly impossible to knock down. Muskoxen defend themselves by forming a wall, adults facing outward, horns lowered, a living fortress against the wolves that hunt them. But when a muskox decides you are the threat, it doesn't just stand there. It charges, lowering that armored skull and driving forward with the momentum of a small car, and a direct hit can break bones and throw a person through the air. In parts of Alaska, muskoxen have become genuinely hazardous where they overlap with towns and trails, and wildlife officials warn people to give them an enormous berth because an animal that evolved to headbutt wolves to death is not something a human absorbs. It ranks 8th because encounters are limited to the far north, and the muskox would rather form its wall and be left alone than come looking for anyone. But it's the first animal on this list built, from the skull down, as a battering ram. But the next one is the deadliest large animal in Alaska, and it isn't the bear. Number 7. The moose. Number 7 injures more people in Alaska than bears do. Here is a fact that stuns almost everyone. In Alaska, the animal that hurts the most people isn't the grizzly. It's the moose. The largest member of the deer family on Earth, a bull moose stands over 6 feet at the shoulder and can weigh up to 1,500 pounds, carrying a rack of antlers that can span 6 feet across. It is a genuinely enormous animal, and it lives not just in the wilderness but in and around Alaskan towns, wandering through yards, along roads, and across trails as if it owned them, which functionally it does. The moose is no predator and has no interest in eating anyone, but its size and temperament make it lethal in 2 ways. On the road, a collision with a 1,500-pound moose is catastrophic. The body rides up over the hood and through the windshield, and these crashes kill drivers across the northern states every year. And on foot, a moose that feels cornered, especially a cow with a calf, or any moose exhausted and irritable in deep winter snow, will charge, knock a person down, and stomp them with those enormous front hooves, an attack that is killed. Provoke one, and it delivers punishment far out of proportion to anything a person can do back. It ranks 7th because the moose genuinely doesn't want conflict, respect its space, and it will almost always leave you be. But it kills through pure mass, on the road and on the trail, more reliably than any hunter in the north. The next one, though, is a predator, the one whose size and power actually earn the fear. Number 6, the grizzly bear. Number 6 is the one animal here that can be both the accident and the hunter. The grizzly, the North American brown bear, is the apex predator of the wild interior West and Alaska, and it is a genuinely awesome animal in the oldest sense of the word. A large male can weigh well over 1,000 pounds, sprint at nearly 40 miles an hour, and carry a bite and a swipe powerful enough to kill a moose. Of everything on this list so far, the grizzly is the one with the raw equipment to treat a human as prey, and on rare occasions it has. But even the grizzly kills mostly without predatory intent. The great majority of serious grizzly encounters are defensive. A surprised bear at close range, a sow protecting cubs, a bear guarding a carcass. A startled grizzly can deliver a single swat or bite that ends a life in an instant, not out of hunger, but out of a reflex to remove a threat. And the animal is so overwhelmingly powerful that even a defensive blow is often fatal. It's the reason bear spray and noise on the trail exist, not because the grizzly wants you, but because closing the safe distance on one by accident is among the most dangerous things that can happen to a person in the American wild. It ranks 6th because, for all its terrifying capability, genuine grizzly attacks remain rare, and the animal usually avoids people when it can. But it's the heaviest land predator on the continent, and the one whose size comes bundled with claws and jaws. And from here, we leave the predators behind entirely, because the 3 heaviest animals left don't need weapons at all. They just need to move. Number 5, the American bison. Number 5 injures more people than any other animal in Yellowstone, bears included. This is the one that proves the entire premise of the list. Ask people what's most dangerous in Yellowstone, and they'll say the grizzly. The answer by injury count is the bison. It has hurt more people in the park than any other animal, year after year, and the reason is written into the without trying idea perfectly. The bison looks docile. It stands there like a shaggy cow, grazing beside the boardwalk, and tourists walk right up for a photo, mistaking calm for tame. It is not tame. The American bison is the largest land animal in North America. A bull can weigh 2,000 pounds, and despite that bulk, it can run at 35 miles an hour, 3 times faster than a person can sprint and pivot on a dime. When one decides its space has been violated, it lowers its head and drives forward, hooking with its horns and tossing a full-grown adult through the air like a rag doll. Park records are full of it. Visitors gored for standing a few feet too close, launched 8 feet in the air, seriously injured in an instant by an animal they thought was posing for them. The park's own warning is blunt. No other animal in Yellowstone has hurt as many people. It ranks 5th, the highest of the land animals, because it combines enormous mass, shocking speed, and the single most dangerous trait on this list. It looks safe. It lures people across the safe distance the way nothing else does. And now we leave solid ground because the last 400 yards of this list are underwater, where the animals get truly vast. Number 4, the Steller sea lion. Number 4 is a sea lion the size of a grizzly bear. When most people picture a sea lion, they think of the barking, playful animals lounging on a pier. The Steller sea lion is not that animal. It's the largest sea lion on Earth, and a big bull can weigh up to a ton. A mountain of muscle with a bite to match, hauling out on the rocky coasts of Alaska and the Pacific Northwest. Next to the little California sea lions people know, a Steller bull is a monster several times their size. On land and in the water, its danger is again about mass and power rather than malice. These are wild predators that hunt fish and squid, capable of serious aggression when a boat, a diver, or a person on the rocks crowds a haul-out or gets too close during breeding season. Large sea lions have been documented lunging at or pulling people into the water, and an animal this size can injure or drown a person almost incidentally in the chaos of a startled 2,000-pound body moving fast. Fishermen treat them with deep respect, because a Steller bull tangled near a boat is a genuine hazard. It ranks 4th because encounters are relatively uncommon and rarely fatal. Most of the danger is potential rather than routine. But it's the gateway to the ocean's giants, where the animals stop being merely big and start being the size of vehicles. The next one carries 2 ivory weapons and can sink the boat you're standing in. Number 3, the walrus. Number 3 can put its tusks through the hull of your boat. Up in the Arctic waters off Alaska lives one of the strangest and most massive animals in America, the Pacific walrus. A big bull can stretch 12 feet and tip the scales at 2 tons. 4,000 pounds, a colossal barrel of blubber and muscle armed with 2 tusks that can grow to 3 feet in length. Those tusks aren't for hunting. The walrus uses them to haul its enormous body onto the ice and to spar with rivals. But turned on a boat or a person, they become formidable weapons. The walrus's danger, like the others, is mostly a matter of scale and circumstance rather than aggression. But there's a specific, well-documented hazard here. Walruses have been known to attack small boats, hooking their tusks over the side or hauling out onto them, and a 4,000-pound animal doing that can capsize or sink a vessel in frigid Arctic water, where the cold, not the animal, is what kills you. On land, a spooked herd can stampede, and a person caught among panicking 2-ton bodies is in mortal danger from the crush. This is an animal that can end you simply by trying to climb where you happen to be. It ranks third because human encounters are rare and remote, confined to the far northern edge of the country. But it's one of the 2 heaviest animals on this entire list, and it can reach you even inside your boat. The one above it is heavier still, and it does its killing on the beach. Number 2. The northern elephant seal. Number 2 is as big as a car, and it moves faster than you can run. On the beaches of California, from Point Reyes to Piedras Blancas, gather some of the largest animals in North America, northern elephant seals. The males are almost beyond belief, up to 14 feet long and as much as 4,000 to 5,000 pounds, the size and weight of a car, with a grotesque inflatable snout and a body that seems too vast to move on land. Every winter, thousands haul out onto public beaches to breed, utterly indifferent to the people watching. Here's the trap that makes them so dangerous. They look like they can't move. A 5,000-pound elephant seal appears to be a beached, blubbery boulder. And then, when it wants to, it can gallop across the sand faster than a human can run, at least for the short distance that matters. During breeding season, the massive bulls are hyper-aggressive, hurling their bodies at rivals in thunderous collisions, and anything caught between 2 battling males or between a bull and the sea can be crushed beneath tonnage that doesn't even register the impact. A mother defending a pup will bulldoze anyone who comes near. People are warned constantly to keep a wide distance because the animal that looks least able to hurt you can flatten you without breaking stride. It ranks second because its size is simply staggering, the heaviest animal you can encounter on an American beach, and because its stillness is a lie that has lured people into range for decades. But it's still only number 2, because the last animal on this list is so large that the elephant seal would look like a pup beside it, and it can kill you by falling out of the sky. Number 1. The humpback whale. Number 1 can kill you without ever knowing you were there. Here it is, the largest animal you can come face to face with in American waters, and the purest possible answer to this entire list, the great whale. Off both coasts, from the humpbacks of California and New England to the giants of Alaska, these animals move through the water at a scale that breaks the human sense of proportion. A humpback whale can reach 50 feet long and weigh up to 80,000 pounds, 40 tons, and it is, by every measure, gentle. It eats tiny fish and krill. It has no interest in people whatsoever, and it is still, by sheer size, the animal most capable of killing you in America, without a trace of intent. The danger is breaching. A humpback launches its entire 40-ton body out of the water and comes crashing back down, a natural behavior done for reasons scientists still debate. It does not, and cannot, know what's floating on the surface above it. There are documented cases of breaching whales landing directly on top of boats and kayaks off the American coast, crushing and swamping them. Large whales have damaged and even sunk vessels this way, leaving people in the water. A paddler in a small kayak, drifting quietly near a feeding whale, is one breach away from having 40 tons come down out of the air onto the exact spot they occupy, and the whale would surface and swim on, never understanding that anyone had been there at all. It's number 1 because it is the ultimate expression of the idea in this title. It harbors no aggression, no hunger for humans, no awareness of the tiny boat above it. It is simply so unimaginably large that its ordinary existence, a single joyful leap, can extinguish a human life by pure, blind physics. Of all the animals in America, the whale is the one that can kill you most completely and most innocently without ever trying at all. So look back through the whole list, and the pattern is the opposite of what a danger countdown usually delivers. There was no villain here. Not one of these animals was hunting us. The goat wanted its trail. The bison wanted to graze. The whale wanted to leap. Every death and injury on this list came not from an animal's malice, but from its mass, from a person standing inside the space where a very large body was about to be. That's the real lesson. And it's a humbling one. In a world that trains us to fear teeth and claws and venom, the animals most likely to kill you by accident are the big, calm, magnificent ones we walk up to for a photograph. The danger was never that they wanted us gone. It's that they are so much larger than we are that our safety depends entirely on the one thing we keep forgetting to give them: room, distance. The safe distance that every one of these animals silently demands, and that costs a person their life the moment they forget it. The giants aren't waiting to hurt anyone tonight. They're just being what they are: enormous and indifferent and entirely capable of ending you without ever meaning to. All they ask is that you don't come close enough to make your smallness their problem. And if the animals that can kill you by accident are unsettling, wait until you see the one that came back on purpose. One region over, a predator that was declared officially extinct decades ago keeps turning up on trail cameras anyway, confirmed, photographed, in mountains where the science says there shouldn't be a single one left. That mystery is already on the channel. Subscribe and I'll show you the ghost that refuses to stay gone,